Hey y'all, this is Urs coming at you with another preview. That's right, our next Civ series is just over the horizon as we continue that brutal free-for-all. Man, World War II really is a free-for-all in this world against the Nazis, the Americans, and all them. But first, let's focus on the task at hand. You may be wondering, what is with that weird thumbnail? Why is things all rotated like that? Why are there two different leaders on there? Well, our next series is something special. I've been planning this for a little while, and I think I finally managed to find the good two modded civs to run it with. We are going to be doing a simulated playthrough. Namely, we're going to start at the dawn of time in Civ 5. We're going to run all the way to the information era. We will pursue a science victory, launch a spaceship to the stars, and then magically continue in Civilization Beyond Earth. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and now I can do it for you, and we have a thematically consistent civilization to do it with. So if you didn't know, you can't really do this. You can't just end your game in Civ 5 and magically switch that progress to Beyond Earth. But we're going to simulate that by using a thematically similar civilization through our Civ 5 and BE playthrough. And all in all, we're just going to have a hell of a game. We may be pursuing a science victory first off, but that doesn't neglect the possibility of some serious whooping involved, and as you read about the Civ I'm going to play, you'll start to understand that. Okay, so, starting from the dawn of time in Civ 5, we'll be playing Cuba. Yes, the revolution will be televised and will be shot to the stars. The leader is Carlos Manuel de Céspedes, freedom fighter of sorts, a revolutionary leader, and here we go. His unique ability is La Demahagua. Increased combat strength on plantations. Okay, well, that may or may not come in handy depending what luxuries we have. And adopting a social policy instantly grants points towards revolucionarios. Those are great general replacements. We'll get to that in a moment. Upon adopting your first ideological tenet, receive 2 free revolucionarios. 2 free great generals. Not bad. So, what is this revolucionario we keep talking about? Well, here it is. It's not really a recon unit, but apparently that's where it's been classified. So, it is effectively a great general. 2 movement, 8 combat strength. Yeah, I might ask, what the hell is going on there? Well, it's basically a great general that can attack and defend on his own. And he gets the combat strength of the highest infantry unit we can produce. So that's interesting. So we can kind of get a tech and get him that strength. So we can get long swordsman tech. Even with that iron, he gets long swordsman strength. That's pretty cool. Ignores terrain cost, may move after attacking. And this is, I think, the key part that's going to make Cuba such a massive war force early on. When he's next to an enemy city, it puts the enemy city into resistance. Now, if you'll remember, cities in resistance cannot fire or produce anything. Mainly, the emphasis on the defensive fire. Early on, that is the biggest threat to your artillery lines, to your catapults, and everything else. You put this sun gun next to the city, it can't do that anymore, and that is huge. Even for a turn or two, that is a massive advantage to your early army. I think I'm going to be abusing this ability really easily. It may not conquer cities like a melee unit or build citadels, and it will lose HP after killing an enemy. That's pretty standard, but that is hugely valuable for our generals, and we'll be putting that to good use. I'm very excited to play that and kind of use that to make an early decent push against cities I won't be able to do so otherwise. The other replacement kind of goes with this culture army thing. It's the Cabildo de la Nación. It's a replacement for the armory. Units produced by the city receive plus 15 experience, kind of like an armory, but you also receive plus 15 experience when the Great Work of Music slot is filled. So 2 things there. 1, extra experience is always good. I like that, but it's also an early slot for great works of music. Normally, you have to go all the way up to acoustics to get opera houses, and those are expensive to build. But if you're going militaristic, sort of, and you're building an armory anyway, great. You don't have to build your opera houses early. That is freaking fantastic. I'm really excited to start building these things, and it can even be built without a barracks. So, wow, really synergistic early, and that is bloody beautiful. This is a bug from the EUI. Don't worry about that. That's probably how something is implemented. So that is going to be our Civ 5 civilization, which brings us to the second half of the LP. And here is the second half of our LP. We'll be playing as the Caribbean Axis. I guess the closest thing to successor state as Revolutionary Cuba as I could find on the mod database. Made by the same god, modding god, same guy. Leugi, who has done the Patria Grande Civilizations of the Americas, and he has expanded his purview into the Patria Infinita of kind of similarly themed sponsors for Beyond Earth. We'll be using one of those, the Caribbean Axis, and I'll go quickly through the features that are included in his mod so you can kind of get an idea where we're going with this. So the Caribbean Axis, its special ability is you earn affinity points toward your dominant affinity whenever conquering cities. Also, +2 production on the cities with a garrison unit. This is really important early, and I think this is going to be a really good quick start and kind of militaristic, whoop 'em all kind of civ, the kind of civ I like to play. So that'll be fun. One of the other features is that you get different colonists available with the mod, and we're going to stay to the theme as closely as possible, and we'll be using revolutionaries. So rather than artists, which is +3 culture per city, we'll use revolutionaries, which is +2 culture and +1 production in every city. If it were me playing, pardon me, if it were me playing the game straight off, I'd probably still take artists, but we're playing revolutionary Cuba a las estrellas. It's time to bring the revolutionary ideas to the next world. Spacecraft is pretty standard, nothing new there. But the last new feature I want to mention is that we're going to start with a new cargo. Besides the standard ones, the mod also allows you to start with ideology books, which starts with a free affinity level of your choice. That is a nice boost early to your military and to getting all those tasty, tasty affinity points. You can't go wrong with that, honestly, and we will be using that. So that is our two-part, one whole image playthrough from the beginning of time all the way to a new planet. How cool is that? We're going to start with Cuba, go to the Caribbean Axis. I'm very glad to bring this to you guys. I'm going to tell you up front, haven't spent altogether that much time with Beyond Earth, but the new patches have rebalanced a couple things. A new expansion is coming if you haven't heard out. Rising Tide sounds like it's fixing a lot of the issues, like the diplomacy issues, some trade issues, and adding a bunch of neat stuff. So now's as good a time as any to kind of bring it to you guys, show that there is a modding community alive and well. Maybe not as big as Civ 5, since the game is not as mature as Civ 5 yet. But hopefully there's a good future here too, since the expansion pack is coming out, and the designers have decided to really tweak and balance it out a bit. So cool stuff all around, but that doesn't change anything that we're going into space with Cuba through 2 different games, 1 solid playthrough. I hope you'll join me for that. I'm very excited to bring this to you. All the rest of the details of the game are not really decided yet, what kind of map and all this other stuff. Besides the difficulty, we'll be playing on Immortal and more or less the equivalent difficulty in Beyond Earth. And besides that, it's all up in the air, but this is the plan. This is what we're going to go with, and it's going to be exciting. I'm so glad to bring this all to you. Thank you so much for your continued viewership, subscribership. It has made the channel a pleasant thing to keep contributing to day in and day out. I'm really enjoying bringing this to you guys, and all the comments and suggestions and the interaction with you. It's kind of what keeps me going on this channel. So thank you so much. I will see you all soon in Civ 5 with Cuba and Beyond Earth with the Caribbean Axis. I cannot wait. But first, we must win the World War II free-for-all, and that we will do with vigor and fury, because we have fury. Thank you so much. This has been Urs. I will see you then soon. Till then!